So we do have a module of the week this week. The module is flood control. So people who have been in the Drupal community for a long time are probably familiar with flood control, the purpose behind flood control. If you try logging in to a Drupal site more than 5 times with the wrong password, you will get blocked.
For an hour.
It depends on how many times you've done it. You'll get blocked in a table. You're not blocked as a user. You get added to a flood table, and as long as you're in that flood table, you cannot log in. And there's no interface for bringing people off of that table or cleaning it. And so there used to be a module called Flood Unblock, which has now been deprecated in favor of flood control. And it really just gives you the ability to say, hey, this user is a real user. They just don't know how to type in a password. Let them try again.
I mean, they may not be using a password manager. Back in the day, before password managers were prevalent, there are definitely instances where I would goof my password 5 times and then have to go actually into the database, into the flood table, and like rejigger things so that way I could log in. This module is awesome because it prevents you from having to tamper with your database.
Yep. And so, yeah, that's all it is. It's just a UI for unblocking users that have managed to get themselves into the table. I think it also gives you an interface for seeing who is in that table. So it helps you debug a bit. So
doesn't it also have settings to be able to set the flood control to a higher threshold as well? So like if you wanted to say like, we can go up to 10, like we could do that.
I believe so, but I don't know if that's this one or the flood unblock, because I only recently started using flood control. I think when I started updating to Drupal 9.
I think it's this one because yes, it is this one because I have only ever used this one. So I didn't even know flood unblock exists. So just looking at the screenshot on the module page here, you can, change your IP limit to a higher. You can change the window as well. So if you wanted it to be blocked for more than an hour, and then looks like you can also do something similar on contact forms as well, which is interesting. I will say that the IP part of this is interesting too, because if you have folks logging in from the same IP address, sometimes this can become very crucial because people, a bunch of people from the same IP mess up their login at the same time. You can kind of get false positives. So it's another aspect where this module can help you kind of jigger those settings a little bit.
Absolutely. And it's definitely available for Drupal 8.9, and it's got a pretty wide install base of about 28,000 current sites using it. So yeah, if this is an issue that you run into, it's definitely worth having. It's one of those utility modules I only install when I need it, but it's great because when you do need it, it's very easy to use.